Yo, Diddy here, Tournament. As you can see, we're AOR round 5 at Spain. And as you can also see, we're at the qualifying results, because I didn't actually press record until I actually finished the qualifying, because I thought I pressed it before the lobby started, but I actually didn't press it till the end of the qualifying. So unfortunately there is no qualifying lap today, but as you can see, Brozek's done a 20.5, which has gotten pole position by well over 2.5 tenths. So you haven't really missed out too much, and we've got 13 people here today. And yeah, going into this race, I pretty much had a week off from playing F1. I just literally haven't played it at all until the Sunday, so not feeling particularly confident around here. And also as well, this track has never really been a great track for me in the past on previous games as well, and just driving it in this game as well in the TRL Monday League, it just hasn't really been a track that suited me that well. So right now I've done that much practice and I'm not really feeling that much comfortable, and I don't know the strategy at all. So as the lights are coming on and the lights go out, and away we go. So as always, at the start of the race I have a game plan as usual, and right now I just want to stick in second place, just defend this position into turn 1, as Brozek's got a mega start in first place, so he's got a good traction on there. And we just slot into second place, and right now all we want to do is just stick behind him. We just got to not let him escape the DRS zone, because obviously with a 20.5 qualifying time, that's a pretty impressive time. So he's obviously got the pace around here, and I'm just hoping that, as usual, my race pace is stronger than the quali pace, as Brozek makes a bit of a mistake there. And we're just getting to the race now. And as I said, yeah, we just got to keep within his DRS, not let him escape it, because around here the dirty air is really bad. As you saw on turn 2 or turn 3 at the start of that first lap, dirty air was quite a big factor around here. So we do want to get past him quite quickly. We don't want to stay behind him for that long, because that will just burn up my tyres. And also we've got quite a bit of a train behind us as well, so make one mistake and we could be losing quite a few positions here. So just got to navigate this. The chicane is an absolute nightmare. Like, you'll see during the race, as Brozek makes a bit of a mistake, they can really catch up. The auto spin curve is not as bad as it was in previous games, but it's definitely something that's still there, as we've got quite a bit of a run. This case from in a straight line, and with the setup I'm using, it's quite good in the straight, and we're not going to go for a move. I just thought at this point it wasn't really necessary, and it was a pretty risky move. He could have just gone around the outside of me, and could have been contact as well. So I just thought we got 31 laps to go. There's no real, it's not necessary to really go for that move at the moment. So just wait for the DRS and hopefully get a good exit off the last corner, and we can punish him into turn 1. So right now I've got Leobot all over me. So the McLaren boys this race are looking pretty racy, look like got quite a good pace. This chicane here is an absolute nightmare as well. It's so easy to cut and extend, so try my absolute best to keep with the limits of the track here. And again, we just lose that time going through the high speed corners. So just the understeer for the turbulent air is quite difficult. And as you can see, I put it into lean mix as I did with China in the twisty sections of the track, and you'll be seeing me doing that a lot during this race as well. Particularly, the only place I really use rich is the main pit straight, and then I actually use lean for most of the corners, and managed to get this chicane quite nicely and just run a little bit wide again. And just that turbulent air is just, you're just very cautious getting on the throttle, because it's quite easy to lose car, as Brozek is trying to defend a bit, but there's no way we'll go overtake him this time. And we've broken away from Minty in 4th place, so it's just us 3 up in front, which is easing the pressure a bit for me. We just get into the rhythm of the race more, and as you can see here, look at this, we can see the understeer from the turbulent air is pretty horrific. So we do not want to be staying behind him for too long, because the Leobot behind me is looking like he could definitely be quite a big threat. I know he's got quite a good pace around here from the Monday League in practice as well, and he's looking pretty good around here also. So we just got to try and crank it up now, try and put Brozek a bit under pressure. It looks like we're definitely a lot closer than we were in the previous lap. So right now I'm just thinking, just try and apply the maximum pressure, try and make him see that I'm in his mirrors, try and force him into a mistake pretty much, as at the moment we're definitely a lot closer than we were last lap. So keeping it lean, just as always, to just keep that traction and to save my tyres, and also just to help with fuel so we can attack at the end of the race. And right now we just got to get absolutely perfect, as he looks like he's just made a mistake coming off that chicane. So we're definitely a hell of a lot closer than we were last lap, and this is going to be DRS activated this lap. And the speed I'm running, I think I'm running 2-1 wings around here, so quite low wings to what most people are running. As we can see, we're going to go alongside him, and we've managed to get into first place. And right now we just got to spot our braking point, just try and keep it within the limits of the track, and that's the job done at the moment. Just leave a bit of room because I'm outside, and try and be wary of the cutback you can do in this corner. And right now we've managed to secure it, so into the lead of the race. And as always on previous races, it's normally my consistency that really helps break the toe of people, and that's the plan here, is just to pump in those consistent laps and see who breaks first, really, to be honest. And skipping towards the end of the lap now, I've still got Brozek right behind me. He's still easily go be within my DRS, so we've got to put into rich mix, and we may have to actually defend going to this turn 1. And as you can see, he's only about 5 tenths behind me. He's closing and closing, and we're just going to move into the middle of the track. I don't think he would have gone for that move anyway if I kept it on the racing line, but I'm pretty desperate to stay in the lead at the moment. As you can see, it's a 4-car train, so Minty's joined this train as well. And the last thing I want to do is try and get a collision or lose a couple of positions because the train is so close. And right now we're moving on to lap 5, and we still got Brozek behind me, but it looks like we've got a slightly better exit than the previous lap, and there's no way he's going to get into a position to overtake us into this turn 1. So we just got to try and hopefully, if he gets in our turbulent air and we put in some really good corners and lap times, we can try and break away from him, because dirty air around here is probably one of the worst in the calendar. And as you can see, we've got a little bit of a gap at the moment. It's not massive, but the gap is 6 tenths. So if we can just push to the end of the lap, see what we can do, we could potentially actually break the DRS barrier. So at the moment, keeping it lean, coming out of these corners. As you can see in the map there, we're actually building a gap at the moment. There's definitely a gap building. So just got to keep it within the limits of the track, and hopefully either makes a mistake. And as you can see again, I think he has made a mistake, because there's definitely a gap. And at the moment, I was looking at the minimap, I was thinking he surely must be out of DRS zone. And yes, he is. He's 1 second behind. So we got to make sure we just nail these next few corners as we come onto the start-finish line, and we'll see what the gap is. And the gap looks exactly the same as it was, and the gap is 1.1 seconds. So he's out of DRS at the moment, so which is brilliant news for me. And Leobot is right behind him as well. So if they start battling, then that's going to help me absolutely massively as we skip towards the end of lap 7. I can tell you now, we've been mega consistent, as you can see by our lap times, and Brozek's 2 seconds behind now, so we've just managed to just get in that rhythm, putting it into a lean mix, just helping with traction coming off corners, and I believe they're also battling as well. And that's perfect for me. I'm just keeping it, I'm just driving pretty well at the moment, and as you see, the gap, it's 2.7 seconds. So right now we've definitely got the pace. And as with Bahrain, I was quite surprised with this as well, because I felt under practice really for this race. I didn't really prepare as well as I normally do for races. I've been playing Call of Duty and the Xbox One GTA a bit too much, and I haven't really been playing this game that much. But right now I'm feeling very, very comfortable. I feel really good about the race. It's 2.8 seconds we've got now. So at this point in the race, I was feeling really, really good. But right now, as you'll see in a bit, I start to feel my tyres go off. And since I don't know the strategy and I haven't actually done any race pace at all I've done is a few qualifying sessions. As you can see, my tyres, they're looking pretty worn. And I thought there's no way I can go to like lap 11 or lap 12 in this. I'm going to go for a track position mindset, and as you can see, we're still extending a gap. And as you can see by the split there, which I didn't look at the time, I'm actually still level with my last lap, so we're not actually losing time. And I can tell you now, at this point I really didn't know what to do, but for some reason I decided to pit. And looking back at this, and actually at this point in time now, I knew I made a mistake. I knew it was the wrong decision, as Brozek goes on ahead as well. and someone else actually goes ahead. A few others are going on ahead as well, and I thought to myself, I really think that was the wrong decision, because I could have gone on for another lap and I was still putting away from him, and even if I went on for another lap and Brozak pitted now, he would have got an undercut on me, but he probably wouldn't have come out ahead of me because I had a 3.1 second gap. So I don't know what I was thinking, to be honest. I think I just panicked really, because I didn't want him to pit and for me my tyres to just completely blow up, but my tyres were actually still in relatively good condition, so I was really annoyed at myself. As I said in previous videos, sometimes knowing the strategy, as I did with my first win in AOR actually around Spa, knowing the strategy can actually help you win the race. You don't pace, obviously raw pace is great, but knowing the other combinations such as strategy and everything, that can actually help you win races. And as you can see, Brozak pitted the next lap, and we come out to second place. I think Jambo's still out on the prime tyre, and Leobot's undercut him as well. I think Leobot pitted on that lap 7, which is also part of my decision as well, because I thought if he's pitting so early, as you can see, we're just driving pretty horrific at the moment. A bit of understeer for there. If you don't get a line right, then that corner's an absolute nightmare, but we'll see what the gap is behind us, and it's a 3.7 second lead, so it's still good. The good thing for me is that I've got Leobot between me and Brozak, and Brozak's going to be quicker, so if I can pull away, and Leobot hopefully will be holding him up through battling. As you can see, the curve, the auto spin curves are still there, so anyone who says it doesn't exist in their game, then there's your evidence for you. And we're about to complete 11 laps of the race now, and as you can see, Jambo is still out on the prime tyre, and we've got well, because of that mistake, we've actually lost time. And skipping ahead towards lap 18 now, Brozak's gotten past Leobot, and I think Leobot's dropped back because of his tyres. And this is still looking good, despite pitting a lap later. We've still got the race under control, we've still been really consistent. We'll look at the gap, it's a 4.1 seconds, so Brozak hasn't really closed in that much, despite having the fresher tyres, and anyone would think this is a really comfortable position, and I don't know what I'm doing, what I'm about to do next, as you'll see, and I decide to pit, and I really don't know why. I think I'm just panicking too much about the strategy, thinking that the primes will be as, since the options for me only went about 9 to 10 laps, that the primes would do that as well, but I should have just continued, because I had that 4-second lead, and I had that 4-second lead, I had that buffer, so even if he caught me with the fresher tyres, we could have pitted on the same lap and fought it out to the end, but I've put on options again, and I just don't know. I actually just don't know. I'm actually lost for words. I actually don't know what I was doing this race. I just really wasn't thinking clearly, and normally I'm someone who, if I don't practice a race pace, I make sure I know the strategy 100%, like how long the maximum the tyres can go on for. That's what I mainly do when I do the race pace, just to see how long each tyre can go on for, and I didn't do that this race. I actually did no race pace for this race, so this is my first time doing race pace here, and as you can see, Brozak is still out, and we're options, and right now I maybe could have saved it if I actually weren't on the primes, but I think Brozak would have just closed into me when his options were still relatively in good condition, and so are my tyres as well, so I don't know. The only thing I can think of for the reason why I did it is because I just panicked, and I think I was trying to actually force him into a similar stop. I was trying to force him, because he was catching me slightly. I was trying to force him into that stop, and I was hoping with these option tyres I could catch him pretty well. I could do a really good undercut on him, a big undercut, and then with this, if he does pit for primes, which he does for the end of the race, then with my fresher primes, despite having to catch me quite a bit, as you can see with Bahrain and having a better tyre where you can catch people pretty quickly, so that was my mindset. So right now I was pretty frustrated behind Frankish there, trying to get past him as quick as possible, but luckily we have. And yeah, the race is not over. I'm still pushing as hard as I can. I still believe I can win this race, but as you can see, Brozak has pitted now. He's pitted now, so we'll be able to see what the gap is between me and him. And as you can see from getting held up behind Frankish, she was on old tyres. That hasn't really helped us too much as well, and the undercut I could have got wasn't really as good. I probably lost maybe a second or 2 seconds from that. So it wasn't massive, but it definitely didn't help. And as you can see, the gap here is 7.5, 7.3 seconds. So that isn't good enough at the moment. That is not good enough at all. I think the pit stop is about 20 seconds or something like that. So that really isn't good enough. And as I'm just about to find out here, and I did throughout the stint, the difference between option and prime are not that big. So we can see here we're still keeping quite consistent. And Brojack, the gap is, as it comes up, 10.7. So we haven't we have gained time, but we haven't really gained enough. We have not gained enough time. So we're going to be roughly about 10 seconds behind, because it's a 20-second pit stop. We're going to be about 10 seconds behind with 7 laps to go. It's not looking good at the moment, and this is a major mistake. I'd say one of my biggest weaknesses when it comes to league racing, and what I've done before, is making the wrong strategic decisions, and this is probably the worst one I've ever made. I just don't know what my mindset was, really. I could understand if he was catching me a second or 2 seconds a lap and a 2-second lead or something, but he was catching me maybe a few tenths a lap, and I had enough of a comfortable advantage, and for some reason I just decided to pit. So there's nothing you can do. I was pretty raging in the cockpit, and we'll look at the gap now, what it is, and it's 10.3 seconds. 10.3 seconds. So in 6 laps, that's not doable, really, unless his tyres have a major drop-off point. But some people are going to lap 11 or 12 in the first stint on their primes, and they weren't really too slow. So it's not looking good, and right now I'm still pushing 100%. The one thing I never do is I never give up, and anything can happen. He could have an accident, he could spin, it could be a safety car's on, someone else could crash, he could have a penalty or something that I don't know about, or his tyres could just blow up at the end and we could be gaining 3 seconds up. So we just got to keep pushing as hard as we can, and as you can see, the gap now is not really coming down. So he's got impressive pace in the primes, and it doesn't really seem to be, having the fresher tyres doesn't really seem to be a major advantage as it was at Bahrain and other tracks as well. This track seems to be relatively pretty easy on tyre wear, surprisingly, and as you can see, we're starting to bring the gap down now as his tyres are starting to go off, I expect. So we're just going to follow us to the end of the race now. And yeah, I was just frustrated in myself that normally I don't really make that many bad decisions like that, and it just goes to show that you do need to prepare well for races as well, and especially at a track that I wasn't really confident at. It was probably not a good decision to just not really prepare that much, and but I can assure you that won't be happening again. I will be knowing the strategy pretty well, I can assure you of that. But credit to Brozek though, he's a very fast driver, and he got the strategy right today, so you got to give credit to where it's due. But obviously the race isn't over yet, as we almost put it in, we could have ended really badly there, but as you can see, we are bringing the gap down slowly, but it's with a 7.2 lead with a lap to go, a lap and a quarter to go. There's no way that we're going to close in on him that much unless he has a puncture or something ridiculous happens, that he disconnects or something. So it's looking like he's going to take his first win in AOR F1, which is great news for him. I remember when I did it for me, and it's really good. It gives you so much more confidence for more races. And he just got it right today. He just drove well when he needed to do it. You're getting the strategy right, and as I said, it's all good having that raw one-lap pace, but if you can't avoid the mistakes to do with strategy, also, if you don't know your strategy, then you've pretty much almost pretty much lost the race if you don't know the strategy. And on this occasion, I still don't really know what my mindset was, but I still think I just panicked a bit because I didn't know the strategy and I was trying to play it safe. And I still could have rescued it at the end. I could have done those 14 laps on primes, but I think I was thinking in my mindset there, if he was going to pit 3 laps later than me, then he would have caught me. And plus him being on the options that's still relatively fresh, he would have actually caught me when I transferred over to the prime. So that's why I think I actually went on the options at the end to just try and build that undercut. And I was just confident with my pace at the end, but it wasn't enough. And just doing that one extra stop, has cost me quite a bit here. So it would have been a really close race anyway if it would have been 2 laps. Well, if I did 2 stops, I think it would have been really close for the win. But doing this has really definitely hindered me as we just blow up over that chicane there. So that just tops off the race really. Pretty disastrous calls for me. But the race itself, I drove well. I was happy with how I drove. But credit to Brozak, he managed to get his first win in F1, so congratulations to him. And next race we got is Monaco, so kind of looking forward to that. But then we got Canada, Silverstone and Austria and them kind of tracks afterwards. So as always, thank you for watching. Hopefully if you enjoyed the commentary, give it a like if you do, and see you next video. Cheers.